Bright Suns, everybody. Welcome. I'm Eric Walker for all4sci-fi.com, and welcome to the final review and reaction video for The Mandalorian. This is the season finale. It's episode 8, and it's called Redemption. And as always, before we get into any spoilers, I will go ahead and do a general overview and also give the rating so you guys could see what the rating is. And since this is the season finale, I'm also going to give the entire season its general rating as well. And then right when I'm about ready to get into the spoilers and do a full breakdown, you'll see a title over here that says spoilers. And at that moment, you could go ahead and pause the video if you haven't seen episode 8, and then you could come back and watch the rest of the review. And as always, please give this video a thumbs up, and don't forget to subscribe below and hit the notification bell so you're notified every time we upload a new video, because next year in 2020 we have a lot of events we're going to be live at. We're going to be doing, right in January, we're going to be at Pasadena Comic-Con covering that. Then we're going to be in Florida at Pensacon. We're going to be at WonderCon, and then we have LA Comic-Con again, DesignerCon, San Diego Comic-Con. But I can't forget, we're also going to be in August at Star Wars Celebration. So you really should make sure you hit the subscribe button and also the bell so you're notified every time we do a new video. But episode 8. Wow, guys. I bet you could figure out already what my rating's going to be. But episode 8, Redemption, wow, it is just incredible. It is by far the best episode. I would say it's even better. Well, you know what? It is better than the first episode, the pilot. It's really good. This episode was directed by the person who plays IG-11, does the voice. I can't pronounce his name. It's like a Hawaiian name, Takiti Watiti. I'm sure I said his name wrong, and you're going to give me flack about that, but I'm terrible with names. But it was directed by him, and at All for Sci-Fi, our rating system is 0 to 5 stars. 5 stars, of course, is the best you could get. 3, if we also say if it's 3 or below, you don't have to go. If it's in a movie theater, in this case, you don't have to watch the episode if it gets 3 stars or below. This episode, episode 8, gets, you guessed it, 5 stars. Wow. What an incredible episode. Just an amazing piece of work. And I did the math, by the way. This is the 4th episode that has gotten 5 stars out of the 8. But if I go back and do the math, the overall rating for the entire season came in at about 4.69 stars. And I went ahead and I changed one of my prior ones. Episode 2, I gave it 4 stars. I feel now that I've been a little bit harsh on episode 2. I was really upset at all the continuity mistakes. So I'm going to go ahead and change that. I reserve the right to do that. So episode 2, I'm going to bump it up to 4.5 stars. So the entire ratings for the entire season now for The Mandalorian is 4.75 stars for the entire season, with 4 out of the 8 episodes getting 5 stars. Okay? Let's go ahead now, and you'll probably see something here that says spoilers. You'll probably see something here that says spoilers. So go ahead and pause if you haven't seen this episode, and then come back and watch it later. Okay, so this episode starts off where the last episode ended, so they're trapped, basically. And they have Moff Gideon, who is, trying to somehow talk them into coming out and giving up. At one point, he even brings one of these web. They call it an E-web or something like that. It's a big, huge pulse cannon that would just totally annihilate them. And they know that they're done for. And then you go to these biker scouts that have the child. The one that at the last episode they scooped up the child, and they're sitting outside of town with the child. And these biker scouts, they are real jerks. The baby keeps trying to make noise, and they keep hitting the baby. And I was so mad every time that they, were abusive to the child. It really upset me. And guess who comes up? IG-11 shows up. and he just lets them have it. And when he does that, I'm just screaming, yeah, 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 way to get him. But before that happens, they decide to take their little blasters out, and they're doing like this shooting. They're shooting at this can or something in the background, and it's just right there in front of them, and they keep missing, even though they're right next to it. You know, hence the phrase, stormtroopers can't shoot their way out of a paper bag. Proving it here. So then, okay, so the IG-11 comes there, and he knocks them out. He gets up on the speeder bike. He goes into town and starts shooting everything up until he shoots his way inside to where they're trapped. And he tells the Mandalorian, you know, I'm here to protect the child. My job, my duty now is to nurse it. Of course, Mando still has an issue with droids, so he doesn't believe him at first. So they're trying to find, before that they were trying to find a way out, and the Mandalorian found that because they lived underground, all the Mandalorians, they were in hiding, that there's a way to, there's a gate in a tunnel, and they can't break through it to get in underground. But because IG-11's there, and he, of course, could cut through the pipes and everything, they're able to move the gate off and go underground. And they go over to this other area where the lava's flowing, and they go ahead and run into this little, boat with another really cool droid. That's a way to go out through with the lava flow. So they hop on that, and the droid's taking them. Really, really, really cool. For the first time ever, you see this awesome astromech droid that actually stands up. He like stands up, and it's so cool. And of course, they notice before they are exiting that there's a whole battalion of stormtroopers waiting. They know that what they're doing, and they're just waiting out there to get them. So the saddest part of this entire episode happens, and that's IG-11 decides to give up his own life, for the cause, also for the baby, because he's supposed to protect the child. And he goes out into the lava and goes out to where they're at, and he's supposed to self-destruct because he can't let himself get captured. So he still has that rule. He's not allowed to get captured, even though it's changed a little bit, and he's not, a bounty hunter and a battle type of droid. His mission is still the same. He's not allowed somebody to get his technology. So he goes out there, he starts firing on them, and then he self-destructs, blows up all the stormtroopers, and that allows them to go ahead and get away. So now that they've gotten away, also, a very important thing I forgot, as Moff Gideon's talking to them, when he's trying to talk them out to come out, he actually says he knows them all. He knows everybody that's in there, and he mentions Cara Dune. She has a middle name. It's Cara Cynthia Dune, and she's from Alderaan. So now we know why she hates Imperials, because we all know what happened to Alderaan. Never land on Alderaan, as Richard and Sarah Woloski would say from Skywalking Through Neverland. And he also mentions the Mandalorian's name. So his name is Din Djarin is his name. And so he knows him, and of course he also knows Greef Karga. He calls Greef Karga a magistrate, so I didn't know he was a magistrate, so we learned something new. And also, Cara Dune is really surprised because the Mandalorian knows that it's Moff Gideon, because he knows his name, and he says the only person who would know my real name, and he says he knows it's Moff Gideon. So, and Cara Dune says, I thought he was executed because of war crime. So apparently Moff Gideon survived being executed after the fall of the Empire, which is you just learn a really lot through this entire episode. The entire episode, we're learning a lot of stuff as well, and it's just incredible. This entire as they're fighting, they're trying to get out and fight their way out before they go back in When the IG-11 shows up, they try to fight their way out first before they try to go under the tunnel, and the Mandalorian gets shot in the head. So he's very injured. I mean, he could die. It's so bad. As everybody goes underneath the tunnel, the IG-11 convinces the Mandalorian, Din Djarin, to take off his helmet. So we finally get to see the Mandalorian take off his helmet. So we finally get to see Pedro Pascal with the helmet off, which is great, and he agrees to do it. At first he says, no, I'm going to die. Let me die, kill me. Let me die a warrior's death. And the IG-11 says, I'm not a living person, so you could take it off. You could take the helmet off. No, I'm not really, it's okay. You're not breaking the code by taking the helmet off because I'm not a living human being. So when he does that, he's able to go ahead and give him first aid, and which helps, save him. So when they finally get out and the IG-11 sacrifices himself, they're trying to run away, and of course Moff Gideon shows up in his TIE fighter, starts shooting at him. While they're still underneath the ground, they actually stop to where the Mandos were hiding, and you get to see the armorer, played by Emily Swallow, and she gives the Mandalorian a jetpack. So he finally gets a jetpack, and she also gives him his signet. So now he has a signet. So the Mandalorian has his signet. It's a clan of 2. She makes it and puts it on his signet on his arm, and she gives him the jetpack. So when Moff Gideon is chasing him in a TIE fighter, he uses his jetpack to go up into the sky, and he basically gets attaches his he shoots at the thing to attach himself to the TIE fighter, goes up on it. There's a bunch of little back and forth, and he's trying to break in. He can't get inside. At one point, he ends up disabling the TIE fighter, and it crashes, and then he falls down, and he's still new at this jetpack thing, and he's able to get it to stop. And it's cool. The jetpack works very well. He's a little shaky at first. Then he uses the jetpack to fly away with the child as well. And just a great episode, guys. What can I say? And right at the end, there's a cliffhanger. You think that Moff Gideon's dead? Well, guess what? Moff Gideon is not dead. So what happens next is we see this dark blade cutting open the ship, the TIE fighter, and it's, guess what? It is a black lightsaber. The black lightsaber that we saw from Mandalore. So it's there is so much in this episode. Again, this review is all over the place because I'm excited about it. I'm excited about the Mandalorian just fell. He's excited about it too. So I'm real excited about this episode. It is by far the best episode. Episode 8, the final episode of The Mandalorian, in all its glory, was wonderful. It gets 5 stars, as I mentioned. And the whole series as a whole, since I upgraded episode 2 to 4.25 stars instead of 4, the whole series gets 4.75 stars. It's just amazing, guys. Can't wait to see what happens in season 2. Real exciting. They also mentioned the armorer tells the Mandalorian that he's the child's father and that he needs to find the home world of the child. And when he does, then he could leave the child with, until then he's the father, but once he finds the home world, he could go ahead and leave the child with its species. So we still didn't get that. We don't know what species this is or where the home world is of the child. I'm sure we'll get that in season 2. I can't wait. I wish it wasn't until next November. I don't know why this year it started in October, why they're waiting until November. But we got to wait until November of next year to see Season 2 of The Mandalorian. Thank you guys for joining me very much. Appreciate that. Be sure, if you like this video, to give it a thumbs up. And also, don't forget to subscribe below. If you'd like to leave us any comments, you have any suggestions, we welcome everything, even the negativity. but let's keep it all positive. I'm Eric Walker for All for Sci-Fi saying, till the spires, may the Force be with you, always.